Ready, kids?
Aye, Captain!
I can't hear you!
Ahoy there, mateys. It's time to set sail on another episode of Unconstitutional Awakening, the podcast. I'm your host, Jim Bob Ovalshorts, and tonight we've got something super awesome planned for you guys. As it's kind of the end of the year, we figured we'd do kind of a, group of the hosts here doing kind of like a year in review and chatting about some of the stuff we've seen this year and talked about this year and the trials and tribulations of running a podcast and such. And of course, reaching out and thanking each and every one of you out there that's supported us this entire way, that they're the only reason that this happens. Everybody out there listening and everybody out there watching all over the world, really. And it's super appreciated, you guys. Like we really take it to heart, man, and it means a lot to us that you guys support the things we're out here doing, man. It's been a wild ride, and it's been super fun, and we've had lots of fun guests and had some change ups and co-hosts and stuff like that. But that's kind of what happens in this business. I guess it's the name of the game. But we've made some fantabulous friends along the way, I think, and I'm looking forward to more in the following year of 2023. This was like a leap of faith kind of thing, and look where we are now. So it's been super great. And of course, you guys know everything we're going to talk about tonight, all the past episodes and stuff like that we've had. You can find them all over there at unconstitutionalawakening.com, your home for everything Unconstitutional Awakening. And we I pretty much run a lot of the site stuff over there. The guys got their sections and stuff like that they got going on, but I try to do a good job of keeping you guys up to date with everything over here. From over there in that podcast and more section, man, you can just thumb through there and find all of our past episodes, as well as finding links over there to Rumble, Odyssey, and BitChute to watch all of our past episodes. Believe it or not, one was censored on Rumble this year, and there's been 2 removed from BitChute, even though they claim that they're not censoring places. They totally did. So I guess I proved that wrong. I don't know how I pulled that off, but good job me. There's also the links to get back to where you can listen to us on all of these podcast platforms, and there's probably like a dozen more that aren't even listed on here. But once you go back to the main home there at the Podbean home, you can get links back to each and every one of them to find us, or you can just pull us up inside of any of your favorite podcast app under Unconstitutional Awakening, the podcast, the one and only. Don't be fooled by any cheap imitations that are out there trying to, do this without a pirate, because that's kind of what makes it, I think. While you're there, you can listen to the show. The most recent episode, of course, is that misadventure prior to Yuletide. Yeah, we just thought it'd be fun to do a Christmas episode and talk about all the weird stuff surrounding the holidays and stuff, man. There's also links there to get back to our sweet merch store to get you some of that sweet Unconstitutional Awakening merch. You guys, we got shirts and hats and pillows and all kinds of things. Some of the co-hosts have bought some stuff from off there just to help kind of show their support for the show. And I've even talked to a few show fans there that have got some stuff. So I do appreciate it, you guys. And anything that you guys get with that goes directly back to helping the show, because it's completely self-funded, man. And sometimes it's a little bit of a bonus there when I get that little bit of a paycheck from some you guys getting some of this stuff. That way I can put it towards this website and towards everything we're doing here to bring you guys all this cool stuff that we got going on here. You can also find links to get back to all of our friends in Liberty. We've got Kirk Elliott and Peachy Key Creations, as well as Ammo Can Survival, Brett Pike with Classical Learners and Homeschools Connected. And there's our newest one that I've yet to add the click for, but it is with the episode, and that's Pure Pet Wellness. They're doing CBD treats and stuff for animals and stuff like that. All natural stuff, man. Like good people trying to be out here making a difference against the current system that we have. That's all these folks here, man. And that's the kind of stuff that we're working on trying to build here. Just a good community of people that are here to try to make a better day for tomorrow. So I guess, with all my blue blab, I'll shut it up and we're just going to get into this one because I think this is going to be a fun episode. So let's set sail for this, you guys.
Their children and carry on. Sorry.
Oh, what was that? What was that? You could say that again?
We should just incentivize learning a trade, learning a craft, passing it on to your children, and being good at what you do. But, I don't think the government should be involved in that process because much like the VA, I think I've met one veteran who actually doesn't hate the VA with all of every fiber of their being, and that's because they basically were like, those guys declared me disabled and now I don't have to work again ever, which is that's all well and good, but come on.
This is the thing. I agree, but you also have to see it from the perspective of if it's to incentivize business, it's not that big of a negative. I mean, in several countries, this is a policy. It's not exclusive to the United States. Several countries around the world support small businesses with creating grant options and loan options, and this helps spur economies. Now, the problem is the fact that gigantic mega corporations have access to this money is the problem. In the United States, we should create barriers. So, for example, what was this company? There was a few companies that got $10 million from PPP money. And everybody was like, they don't need shit. Why the fuck did Shake Shack get $10 million?
Why in the hell did the Lakers get $42 million?
Oh, no, it gets worse. The Nigerians got hundreds of billions. Look into it. Nigerian government, people in Nigeria got hundreds of billions in different types in PPP and other what's it called? The income scam, what is it called? The unemployment.
Yeah,
hundreds of billions.
Well, how else is the prince gonna have millions of dollars in his apartment? You ever seen that scam? The Nigerian prince with millions of dollars in his apartment.
Oh, somebody had
waiting for you to inherit it.
Oh, I mean, so it's called the 411 scam. If you ever want to look into what the actual term for it was in Nigeria, they are actually idolized. I was actually talking to a Nigerian a few days ago, and we mentioned that topic, and he was like, "Until us as a society stop idolizing these people, we are never gonna get out of this hole." Because they understand they're evolving, they're creating a better selves, they're creating everything. If you met a Nigerian, they're hardworking people. But
yeah, opportunity
can exist from the government, of course. We don't want to depend on it. I think it's better to deregulate, and actually our pseudo leaders should start deregulating the hell out of things.
Well, they've already passed laws. It's the
stop passing laws and start removing laws.
It's in their own country though. It's the 419 law. That's why they're called the 419 scammers, and this was like a decade ago.
Steve, your audio is so distorted.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, your audio's coming through kind of rough, buddy.
I actually know about it when I pulled this up and I had seen what you were talking about actually being the 419 scam. Then it clicked with my head because I know it as the 419 fraud from the 90s.
Oh, so I mean, now also it's a $20 billion industry, and Asia is also involved. So there are several countries are also involved in this scam. So this has now become a super huge global thing. 20 billion a year is scammed out of people's pockets.
I'm not surprised. I'm actually surprised it's that low. $20 billion a year is actually pretty low compared to like how bad I thought it was going to be.
That's the size of the sand market.
Yeah, it's huge. It's colossal.
No, that's the size of the illegal sand market. I mean, that's still gigantic, even though 20 billion, like we're used to now hearing 1.7 trillion as if it's
well, that's
normal.
what I'm saying. I would imagine like $1 trillion changes hands in scams on an annual basis. You could tell me that statistic, and I would buy it hook, line, and sinker.
Well, it gets worse. So we did the Defense Authorization Act for around 800 billion, and we just gave them, and the omnibus bill, 900 billion.
Oh, that's a small price to pay for our freedom that they're defending.
So we just, on paper, just gave out the U.S. military almost 1.7 trillion, 1.6 trillion dollars. That's on paper. Imagine all the money that's not on paper. Remember, they failed
the resources too.
Well, they failed. The Pentagon failed the audit again.
Big surprise. I mean, color me shocked. Really, it's just beyond hypocritical at this point. That they would ask us to make sure our puny little insignificant lives and finances are in order to get them filed on time, or else they throw us in a hole where dudes poke us with cattle prods until they're done, basically. Or they don't have to play by the same rules, though. It's ridiculous. And the Pentagon, dare I say, the pinnacle of military might in the modern world, or in terms of symbolism at least, doesn't have to answer to anybody, and they know it, which is why they fail the audit, and they don't give a shit. They don't care. These guys know they're untouchable.
And that was from 2019, 22 trillion, and that was the 2019 number, has been stolen since 2001. 22 trillion. Just think of that for a moment.
My favorite is the first headline that you get when you pull up, like Pentagon lost money or whatever. It's like the Pentagon admits that it can't account for 2 trillion again. Like
again.
Right here. Hold on, I gotta come it up. I
mean, we better have space lasers by now, because where is all this money actually going? I really want to know if there's that much excess cash. Where is it?
Okay, so I will tell you this, okay?
Other people's bank accounts.
So I was hanging out with a good friend of mine a little while back. We've known each other since elementary school. Sweet guy. We've been like brothers, and this was the first time we hung out in a long time. This guy had worked for JPL in conjunction with SpaceX. He'd worked with a lot of space companies, essentially. And we were just sitting around talking. We were bringing up the idea of aliens and their plausibility, the plausibility of the existence of alien life, even within this galaxy, let alone our solar system, maybe our galaxy or the universe or whatever, right? And he goes, well, 126 years ago, Marconi was playing with radio waves, right? Okay, cool, great. He goes, there have been no formally documented, recorded interactions with any sort of alien life based on that time frame. So nothing within 126 light years of here. And
there's a debate on that, but yeah, keep going.
To that, my response is this. One, we could be using technology that they don't even use, whether we're not advanced enough, too advanced, or it's just completely different technology entirely that doesn't run on the same wavelengths or what have you. And the other argument he had was something called dark forest theory. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I love
the best way I can explain it is like so. Imagine you're in a dark forest. If you are a predator or able to defend yourself in any way, shape, or form, and you are confident in your ability to defend yourself, which presumptively the race that dominates their respective planet, like for example the human race, would probably take it upon ourselves in order to defend the planet should we come under attack, right? It's not going to be the dolphins unless they've got something we don't know about. It's not going to be orange tabby house cats. It's going to be humans, because we are the conquering race of Earth, right? Assuming that the conquering race of another planet is in fact confident enough in their own ability to defend themselves from an alien race. If we put out any sort of waves that could be picked up, they may have just come here and kicked our asses and murdered the shit out of us if they were out there or able to or whatever, assuming they pick up the same radio waves. So that was his retort.
So there's two parts to that. One, it's likely that so there's a problem with the frequencies in the space. After
Right.
10,000 light years, the signals get muffled. So that's number one.
Okay.
Number two, yes, it's likely that the aliens are not using the traditional methods we use because it doesn't work in interstellar space because of the distance problem. So they probably using something similar to entangled particles to communicate instantaneously. What they would call in like Star Trek the what's that name for the system they were using for intercommunication that was faster than
Subspace communications.
space. Yeah. Okay, Jim.
What's up, Jimmy?
This goes back to during our Halloween time when we had that interesting fella on, that Chaz of the Dead, and he got me started digging into the insect theory thing.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing and talking about looking to the insects, that we need to look to the insects and how they have conveyed the evolutionary traits of flight and stuff like that, and that there is something to do with their mechanics that could lead to the mechanics of like interstellar space travel and such, and interdimensional space travel even. I'm an interdimensional kind of guy, like what you were saying a few minutes ago, Ox, about how there's like this 126 year span almost.
Right.
Like there was something similar.
Also, I'd like to add an asterisk. It would actually be 126 million light years, not 126 light years that I was mentioning earlier.
Well, it made me think of something that I actually heard, even, and I don't like the guy, don't get me wrong, and I hate quoting him because I think he's a fucking joke, but Neil Tyson deGrasse is quoted talking about, like, we've had this space where we used to have all these phenomenons of like the seeing aliens and seeing spaceships and stuff like that, and ever since we've got all these super modern cameras and recording devices and stuff, that has gone way down. Like, you would think there would be people in a heartbeat being like, holy shit, there's a spaceship. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, what are you talking about? UFO sightings have gone up exponentially.
Not according to what
I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson doesn't believe in ships in outer space because he's lying his ass off.
Oh, I know. It was more along the lines of abductions. We don't hear the stories of abductions like we used to
because of the ridicule that exists from it. But it's still happening, actually, at a higher rate than
there was ridicule before too.
Yeah,
like, there's always been ridicule.
No, but now we have the internet, so there's a lot more ridicule.
Sure, but
yeah, we got really good at cyberbullying as a race. We're kick-ass at that.
That's why people don't talk about it. I have friends that have told me about abduction stories.
I mean, I'll be the first person. I don't do abduction. I haven't been abducted per se, to my knowledge, but I have witnessed quite a few spacecrafts coming out of waters, and people are like, "Okay, crazy," and I'm just like, "Yes." Like, I wasn't alone, so I wasn't the USO. I wasn't the only person seeing it coming out of the water. Like, I was there with other people, and they'll back my story, and I'm just like, cool, I'm crazy, but so was everybody in the group that day. Like,
and group sightings happen all the time.
You have this clout chasing nowadays, and I think that people would be proud to talk about it, or they just accept it for what it is because it's so normalized and mainstream that they don't feel the need to tell other people. So I don't think you're going to have as many people reporting it. That's cool.
I mean, I'm sorry, if I was abducted, I'm reaching in my back pocket and pulling out this phone and like, I'm going live on TikTok and being like, yo, these guys is taking me, bro. I don't know where I'm going. I'll see y'all later. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, exactly. But there may be a mitigating factor to your technology may have something built into it to turn it on.
Yes. That's where I was getting. That's actually where I was getting to.
Okay.
In a roundabout way, because I think that I truly believe that they're interdimensional beings. I don't think that it's more. I don't think it's more or less like a space travel thing. I'm more or less like
Yeah,
a
same.
one dimension to another travel kind of thing. And I think that the route that we chose to go with radio and communication and stuff negates something that they do to where we can see them, where it's harder for us to like see them and stuff ourselves.
So some people have said that our interference patterns that are created from our technology might actually eventually affect other dimensions.
Yes.
Because let's put it this way. We don't understand on that level almost at all what the hell that could be doing in another dimension.
We're playing with fire. We're absolutely playing with fire.
I was thinking one day, what if us as beings, we to another dimensional being, we look completely different. Let's say every human walking around looks like a little tower of energy, and like walking around, we have different colors and we look completely different. And even the interaction with us looks different. And what if even on this planet, there's a whole another collective of expression of energy, and that's what we call dark matter. Again, we don't know a lot of things, and of course, I could be sounding like a Looney Tunes, but in reality, you have to question what the hell is dark matter. What if that is actually another expression of matter that we can't interact with, but is present even here?
I mean, there's a lot of support for a plasma cosmology, mathematically and visually. Like, it can go and prove it. The dark matter has been a money black hole from day one. There has been no fruit brought forth about anything about dark matter existing in the universe. And to say that it exists, I can't really go for that. But plasma cosmology works in a lot of ways that people don't recognize yet because it's not mainstream.
That plasma cosmology gets a lot into like what some of the stuff I believe or talk with about like the infinity theory, like I just kind of brought up there, like
right.
with the different levels of energy and different levels of consciousness and different levels of beings, like totally. If you look at where Asgard was for Thor and his plane of existence, and the next level of it was like us, and then there's another.
That could be right, and that could be like every time we find octaves or matching octaves in the universe, that could be the cross points of the tesseract in another dimension. Like that is where the nexus point is for that next higher dimension.
Yes.
Or the next lower dimension, depending on which way you're going. So even energy-wise, wave, everything's wave, right? So when those waves intersect, it creates a nexus. And if it's in a harmonic, it can create an entirely new a reverberation in other dimensions. And that, or it could be the result of higher order dimensions coming down to our plane.
Yeah, what if that's what we're doing with just all the radio waves we're emitting? We're actually causing some form of.
We're nowhere near the amplitude level of Jupiter. I'm just saying, we're nowhere near that, or the sun. We broadcast signals. You have to have a receiver built to receive that signal, basically, or it's just going to be lost in the static.
Jim Bob, could you play the sounds of other planets? Look up sounds of Earth, sounds of Saturn, sounds of Jupiter. It's really beautiful to listen to, like the audible.
Yes. So those are actual fast Fourier transformations of electromagnetic waves converted to sound.
Yes.
But it is technically the sound of those planets and those places.
It's just converted into a version that we can hear. And
right. It's an audio wave from an electromagnetic wave.
So if you guys saw the Transformer movies, the first one, they, as a joke, they added the Cassini spacecraft that went over Saturn. They added that sound that came out of the vortex into the movie as an alien signal. So what's this? Is Saturn?
This is Saturn. Here in a second, it's just open.
Hopefully, let's see it play.
Right, and this is.
Beyond the colossal world Jupiter, Saturn can be found.
Yeah,
the second you ever wondered atmosphere, this is. The strange sounds in this recording were...
That's pretty wild.
It sounds even crazier when you start playing around with it. It sounds like human voices. It's really cool.
It is, yes. It will get creepy.
It gets way creepier than that.
Oh yeah, there's a whole list of them.
Especially
when you find this one.
Yes, Jupiter and Io have an interaction with each other, and it produces some amazing sounds.
Because Jupiter is the gravity of Jupiter is so strong that the reason why
the electro
volcanically active. It's so imagine it's a little ball, a squishy ball, and the planet as a squishy ball is getting squeezed and stretched.
Yes, so as it's being squished and squeezed, those electromagnetic fields are interacting with each other as they circle each other. It produces the most amazing sounds.
So
yeah, Io is super interesting.
To kind of jump off subject, I guess, a little bit and chat a little bit about why I kind of brought you guys in this afternoon. And unfortunately, it seems that Bandit and Neptune are not going to be able to make it today, or Kel, and that's quite sad. But I'm glad that you guys did join me, and I appreciate you guys joining me. I was kind of going for like a little bit of a year in review, and you guys have started this episode off quite the reason why I started this whole thing. We just get to talk about crazy, wild, random things that you're not going to hear anywhere else that you totally should look into. But it's just amazing that I have found a group of people that I can have these kind of conversations with. And when we first started out, Ox I think is the only one here with me today that was here in the OG of the podcast beginnings there. And Neptune and Bandit of course are still here with it too. And we've seen some people come and go and things like that. And I filled in those places though. I think I found great people to fill in those places. Kel was my first person that I brought on extra, and then I was blessed to find Luis. And me and Bandit talk about that kind of. We talk up Luis when we get the opportunity. We're just like, man, we were lucky to find Luis because he puts another perspective into a lot of things that we talk about, and he's amazingly intelligent. And then I was digging around for a female voice, and I was lucky enough to find Caitlin here, and I think she's a great addition to the group here because she's been fun for conversation. And I know you've been a little busy here recently, hon, and I do appreciate you making time to join us today. But with the new year I got planned, there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming, so I know you'll be able to tune in a little bit more for us than you have been.
I will.
How you been doing? We haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks.
I've been okay. Just been really busy. So busy, but I've been all right. How are y'all? How was y'all's Christmas?
It was great. I had so much fun for my kids. That's to me, that's all that matters is seeing their smiling faces on Christmas.
Yeah.
So, that's what it is for me at this point in life. Like they're
when you get older, that's really the only fun part about Christmas.
Well, I mean, I guess the next stage is when I get to be the grandfather, many years from now, and get to have fun doing it that way instead of just my kids. Right. So it grows and it's fun, and I think making the memories are good. For the first time in a couple of years since everything's been chaos, this Christmas just seemed more Christmassy than Christmas has been.
It did. I thought so too. I thought it seemed a lot more normal. I guess.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun, a lot going on and stuff like that. And bounce off a little bit more here for a second. I invited Steven to come along and join us because he is our most vocal fan, I gotta say. He checks out episodes and he's in my messages talking about stuff with it, and me and him chat back and forth pretty regularly. He's kind of he's like a extra part of the group here that is not seen too often, except for when he decides to join us for a few episodes, but he totally has a lot of input on things and interacts with us the most, I think, of anybody out there. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you being nice enough to join us today on this conversation, man.
Well, thank you. I need to apologize in advance. Sorry for the terrible communication as far as the connection, but West Texas is very unforgiving in signal. So sorry about that, everybody. Hope it's not too loud.
He threw me off this morning. He sent me a message and he was like, the way he worded it, I was just like, wait, is he not showing up or is he showing up? And then he's like, no, he's like, I am coming, even though it's probably going to make everybody else sad. I was just like, oh, all right, cool. You're good. Like,
sorry to disappoint y'all showing up. Yes.
But, there's been a lot going on. I actually had some cool things pulled up in the background. I wanted to bring up, I keep up with these things on a regular basis myself, and I try to check back to them and let the guys know what's going on with stuff like this, because I think it's really cool. I think it's neat that so many people are out here checking into things. And, like I go over here to our Rumble stats, 11,000, more than 11,000 times you guys have played the videos on Rumble. I think that's amazing. You get over here to
crap.
BitChute, and we have had 13,820 views on BitChute. It pops around a little bit more. We've got our Odyssey's our slowest working place, but everybody tells me Odyssey's hard to get viewed on anyway, but I have it there for that backup because they claim to not censor us and stuff, and it's just below 500 views there. And the one that really makes me proud, though, is over here on our audio. We have made it past the 8K mark in audio. We are
nice.
We are heard primarily in the United States, Australia, the United Kingdom, Canada, Belgium, Italy, Russia, India, Germany, South Africa, the Czech Republic, Spain, France, New Zealand.
And we're banned on the App Store.
Well, see, I was going to get to that next too. on our audio sources, man, we've got a lot going on there too. Spotify seems to be our main place. And for some reason on the Apple App Store, we're only available outside of the United States, but you can totally check us out there outside the United States, because apparently we said something that made them upset. And the only reason I guess I'm showing that off is I appreciate you guys working so hard with me on this, and interchanging and showing up like that, and just being a part of this. Like I think it's really neat. And even though I'm just some weird dude in a pirate hat, I've kind of forced an etch of myself into history, because once you put it on the internet, it never goes away. And a lot of times I say that I do this because maybe one day my kids need to look back and learn some neat stuff, and they can watch their dad and enjoy endless episodes of nonsense. And, just for that comfort thing, who knows? But, the great thing about it is though, I actually do talk to a lot of people other than Steven too, that, they thank me and appreciate me for what I'm doing. And I'm just like, hey, I'm just getting the message out there in the next stage, I guess. When the internet started, we attacked it with the memes and stuff like that, for real. Like, I can go back to you'rethemannowdog.com, like the original meme site. It's finally dead, but that's where a lot of us got our start, just making silly memes and GIFs and stuff like that. A lot of the things that are on the internet today started there. And it went from memes, it went to, like Twitter and stuff, and people tweeting things to people, to TikTok with face interaction, to, it evolved into like this podcasting scene. And like, I for one, am big into the podcasting scene. Like I enjoy what I do, but I enjoy seeing the other people out there doing it, because I don't know about you guys, but when I sit down in front of a television, I'm like, there's absolutely nothing to watch. All of this is garbage. But I can totally find somebody doing a podcast about something wild or interesting or fun that I'm thinking about at that time that I'm interested in, and Luis is great about sending me stuff. Like he's always sending stuff to the group about videos and things that we need to check out and stuff like that. I actually spent this afternoon watching The Minds of Men and reaching out to those people to try to get them on.
Oh my God. If you haven't watched that documentary, look up on YouTube, The Minds of Men. Okay. It's it's 3.5 hours. I think it's like a few things.
Yeah. I'm not even done yet. I'm just like,
it's super dense. You cannot do it in one sitting just because they bombard you. It's a very well-researched bombardment of the comprehension and understanding of what is propaganda, what is like, how do they manipulate your mind, and the intricacies and connections, and what is the history of all this to a person by person level. It's
3 hours and 42 minutes.
I gotta watch
the
it.
research came from them going into libraries in Europe and other countries in order to find the books that refer to these people, because they're not online. None of this stuff is online. So that's how why it's so good. It's because most of the data is not even available on the internet.
Yeah, no, I mean it's stuff like that is just, I won't try to play it, but it's stuff like that that's just,
that's a copy of it. That's a copy of it. It's not the original from True Stream Media.
No, yeah, that one is all of them put together instead of it being.
Oh no, it's also, there's one version, but it must have been downranked. Oh, that's right. So it's downranked. You have to go look down because even though you can write the full title, you still have to go down because they downranked it.
Correct.
But they have it originally in their page. They should still have it.
You know, and that's something neat.
On Rumble.
No, they could be on Rumble as well, or likely, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I find a lot of stuff. Like stuff you can't find on YouTube, I find it on Rumble.
That Josh recommended me. Josh Reed over there on the Red Pill Project, who kind of helped me get my feet on the ground with doing this kind of stuff. He recommended right off the bat. He's like, put it on Rumble. I was like, why? He was just like, it's not that big yet. He's like, but it's growing, and you don't get the slap in the face like you do on YouTube for everything. And I've only had one video. I've only had one video not stay on Rumble, and no, it wasn't the one with Moral Bob. It was one with Jeff Vance. I don't know what the deal was with it, but for some reason the video file says that it just says that it's corrupt and it won't play that video.
Oh, it might have genuinely been that.
Maybe because it's on the other platforms.
It happens with YouTube all the time. Like other people on YouTube have said, sometimes I correct corrupted files. Some people have done live streams and it doesn't record.
Really?
So yeah, even YouTube fucks up, like royally fucks up.
So Ox, since you've been here the longest, man, has there been any standout episodes or anything we did on here that you enjoyed the most or thought that was super interesting?
Man, that's a really hard one to answer. One, I love being a guest host on this podcast. Let's get that straight. We bring in a lot of really cool, interesting people that have a lot to contribute, and we also bring in our fair share of absolute nut jobs. And I'm not here to indicate who is who. I'm just going to say there are some people who definitely are not, in my mind, probably going to be guests on this podcast again. I think those ones are kind of fun, though. I really do, because I love to see how bad it can get. Like how when people are just like not checking up on their friend and they're like, oh, Jimmy's probably doing fine, and we check up on you and you're not doing fine anymore and we cut you off. Those are the kind of people that have ended up on our podcast every now and again.
Oh my Lord.
And those ones are fun for me because they really have no impact on my life. I'm just watching them spiral on video, and it's fantastic because I can comment in real time if I so choose. And usually I abstain from commenting, but we bring in a lot of really cool people and it's fun as fuck.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. There's been a few of those instances. Even before Luis, I had a couple instances like that. I remember one night I had these two spiritual ladies on that they're good friends of mine now because of doing this and stuff. One was named Goddess Mama, and the other her name is Ashley. And I had them on here with a ex co-host that was with us that went by Morpheus, and he was so determined to talk about doom and gloom that he crossed the line with these spiritual chicks, and they verbally slapped him in the mouth to set him straight, like right on the episode. And all I could do was sit in the corner and mute myself because I was laughing. Like I was just like, dude, you crossing like two witchy type chicks that are like, hey, no, we're making a difference in the world and we're not going to take your bullshit. And they it was just, it was hilarious. But then we've had other instances. I think Luis has caught some of the most flack on this channel. like this poor guy.
I've had those things happen to me in real life.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a passionate guy. It's gonna happen.
We've run into a few conversations, I think, with Luis all over the spectrum here, and I don't know what it is, if it's his big, huge smile or what, but he just can set those people off and send them in a downward spiral right here on the channel.
But here's the thing. Yeah. Here's the thing I love about Luis, though. Every one of his opinions is backed by some sort of statistic, and it's a well-documented one. It's not like he's throwing shots in the dark. Everything is a well-placed, accurate statement, and everyone gets bent out of shape about these things, and it's like, how can you argue?
You can't argue with him because
and if I don't know it, I'll tell you I don't fucking know anything about it. I mean,
that's the thing. Like,
that's the thing. You have to say something. If you really don't know the subject, you can question it, but not know it completely.
And you can totally disagree with him, and it's okay. And that's what I like about him.
Yeah, same. I like that too.
If it's one thing I can say, the few spats we've had back and forth on here with guests and stuff, like I've honestly not lost any sleep over it. You know, I take it with a grain of salt, and sometimes I understand that maybe people are just projecting things because they don't. I don't know. It's a good example is it's hard to walk around and claim you're a nihilist and don't believe in anything, but swear upon everything that you're right on a subject. You know what I'm saying? Like it's interesting to see that kind of mentality sometimes. You know, and there's been a couple people that I put my own foot in my mouth like after I got them on here. I won't even lie. Like they were fun for the day to watch them have their meltdown, but you're right, Alex. I was just like, man, I don't know if I can have them back because. Not because they didn't have a good time or we all had some kind of thing. It's just because they were just what I call a statist, man. They were so hard pressed on.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
I wish Bandit was here for this because we had this lady on here that was like she was doing a good thing. She's trying to fight against like the mask stuff when it was going on. She was in the forefront of that, and she had started, you know, with like her daughter and fighting back with it and stuff like that. But she was so hardcore right wing, and Trump's going to save us, and Jesus is going to save us.
Oh, one of those.
I remember she was the one that that had her.
Oh, where'd you go, Stephen?
Oh, please continue,
I
Stephen.
think we lost you.
I know. No matter what.
He's back. He's back.
It's that lady that her daughter got hurt with the vaccine, and she was trying to fight it. But she was totally embracing the state all at the same time.
Oh my god!
Like she wouldn't let that go.
No, she was. She was like trying. She was still trying to use the state to fix the state, and I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm just like you realize that all you're asking for is like for your colored boot to step on somebody else's neck.
Yeah.
You know, like there's
how could God Emperor Trump let this happen to me?
There's better ways.
He's seen his NFTs.
Well, he's the one who signed off on the warp speed. So.
Yeah.
Look. As long as the old lady will okay it, I'm just gonna wear some gray sweatpants to make some NFTs and see if we can make any cash off that. So
you oughta do all your costumes as NFTs.
100%, and very limited edition. So a few years from now, everybody's like, "Did you get that Jim Bob NFT?"
I mean, on a technicality, wouldn't my little show thumbnails totally be NFTs?
100%.
Totally.
I mean, some people have made their shows.
As long as they can't be copied. Yeah. As long as they can't
the thing is, the way he edits, it's actually inside of the legal terms of Creative Commons licensing. Because he reconfigures art in a certain way that it's completely legal. So all his art, all the things he creates, it's not like he's stealing from somebody. It's like a mashup.
Right.
Like, yeah, this is where I started. This was totally like the original picture was like Scooby-Doo, but I just did a whole bunch of editing and coloring and stuff like that to turn it into this. And I did that when I evolved it to the next section too. I stuck with the Scooby-Doo idea because I was like, all right, I dig the Scooby-Doo idea. But the only thing that was Scooby-Doo left from the original idea was totally just the original flashlight. The rest of it was just me being like, all right, what can I do? And then like the pink one, I started getting, kind of silly with it. And I was like, oh man, we'll do like portals. And Bandit kept begging me to animate us. We kept guest starring on a couple other shows. And he's like, bro, you have to animate us. And it took me a couple weeks to figure out what I was doing with it. And I finally downloaded a couple apps, played around with a few things, and was like, here, this is what I come up with. And he was just like, dude, I love it. And so I ran with it since,
If you haven't watched
the intro, my avatar.
Watch the intro.
The new intro?
Some people that are listening, they'll never seen the intro. The intro's insane. Just watch it.
It's ridiculous.
The new intro.
It's a weird piece of art that you will never obscurely find. You ever heard of YouTube poops?
Yes. Yeah.
So it sometimes feels like that. A friend of mine actually does similar mashup artwork with established media and such, and it's interesting. It's part of culture.
I'm not gonna.
Is that like the kind of like I'm having a stroke-esque type boog memes or what?
Some of them feel like you're having a stroke. Yeah.
I'm not gonna put everybody through the sound, but Like while we're sitting here talking, like you can
just play the recent one.
You know.
Oh, there we go. You are
I'm ready.
his inner computer now. There's no private information here, so all to the snoopers, it's all safe.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some people accidentally reveal their IP addresses or their internal computer addresses, and I'm like, holy shit. That's why some people actually hide the address bar, because some people could hack into your computer based off the ID of your computer. They just try to find your computer in a bigger network. It's like level 10, you're a douchebag, but some hackers are capable of finding you like that.
Sure, I wouldn't doubt it. You know, I was playing around with things, and that's when I came to you guys, and I was like, I need some updated pictures and stuff. I felt like I needed an update. Kel helped me do the original. Kel helped me do the original theme song and stuff like that. I had our former co-host give us a couple tracks or whatever, and then Kel was like, "Well, I like what he did, but I want to do this instead," and made our original theme song for us. And I rocked it for like the first three little interchanges of stuff, and I was just like, I got to do something new. I like to keep things kind of fresh, and since the running joke, of course, with Jim Bob Oval Shorts is the comparison to SpongeBob, and I get called that a lot just because people are trying to make fun of me, but I'm just like, no, like whatever, like sure, that's probably where the original name idea come from, you know, from my friend that gave it to me, but I was just like, I got to interchange SpongeBob into that, so I started playing around with all this AI and stuff because Luis has inspired me to play with a lot of it, and I did, you know, it helped me create someone dealing with this music that we got ended up on this new opening, and it also helps me write a lot of the little opening monologues I do when I start the show or whatever. I found this one that I can type in a couple sentences and then like start hitting enter a few times and then add to it and take from it and stuff like that, and it puts things together for me because sometimes there's just too much going on in his head, and I'm just like, Bandit will call it out. He's like, Jimmy froze, like he's glitching again, and it's just because something crossed, and I'm like, oh crap, like you're not glitching, I'm the one who's glitching, bud. Not this time, but I'm saying in general, like it's happened in the past. Because my brain just glitches sometimes in these episodes with so much going on.
I have to say that I love most of the music, and I have like this suspicion that if it's gonna be a lit episode, it has the best banging intro. Just saying.
The little cutscene intro.
All the music that comes with it. Yeah, that intro. And I didn't know Kel was doing it, and I was like, dang, that's amazing. Where's the rest of his stuff? I want to hear more.
He the a lot of the cutscene music for the thumbnails that I make that for like each show introduction, I totally fish those from a free to use, like there's a whole world of free to use music that you know that you can use that people put out there and stuff, and like
there's a term for that and it's escaping me right now.
I know, me too, that's why my brain.
Well, there's public commons, is this like that? There's old art that falls into, and then there's people that just publish them to also be available openly. But what's it when the copyright expires? What's that term?
Open domain, right?
Something similar to that. You're close.
Public domain.
Yeah, it's
public domain.
Thank you. Open domain. Public domain.
And
public domain music. I mean, there is a ton. Disney's fought to keep their copyright because, oh my God, the amount of IP Disney is supposed to already have lost control. IP control.
Sure.
Somehow they've literally changed copyright law.
Well, and I've found that like the EDM bass music drop, like a lot of times when we're filming an episode, I'm totally sitting here. You'll see me looking off to the screen or something, and it's because I'm sitting here actually making that little thumbnail because I look for the music that inspires me, like during that episode, like
right after the show. He sometimes shows us what the hell. You're like, oh, look at this, it's already done. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, and you know, because I like to stay on top of it. That way, that when I'm ready to sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna piece all this together and get ready to upload it, I like for it to just already be there and be available. Because if I procrastinate on it, that I've last minuted myself a couple times on a couple episodes. I've been like, oh shit, I forgot to do this, or my mind got elsewhere, and I try to stay on top of it because there's a whole lot going on behind the scenes dealing with this. Like, I don't bring it to you guys. I don't complain about it or whine about it or anything to anybody. But like a lot of times, my wife likes to point it out. It's almost like I got a second job because I'm constantly emailing people,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm constantly setting stuff up, and I'm constantly trying to update the website and stuff like that. And it is time consuming. I don't get me wrong, but I've found a good way to manage it. And since I
Eventually,
work,
this will be your main income. It's just a matter of time.
everybody keeps telling me that you and her especially, like you and her especially, and even Steven, he gets in there supporting me too. He's always trying to send ideas to me, and I'm just like, yes. And I put it on the shelf.
We just need to work with you to figure out how you can gain back what they lost and regain more traction than ever, become censor proof, get more data in order to become censor proof. And anybody that listens on Spotify, please review us, because that helps.
Yeah, that does.
And I didn't know about the rumbles. You can rumble something. I didn't know about that until recently when I signed in on my laptop to watch an episode. And I was like, man, how did I miss this on the mobile site?
Yeah, I mean, I even though it's just the self-love just to help it or whatever, I do totally run through and hit the rumbles and the likes and stuff on there from from my profile or whatever, so that way it gives it that little bit of feed. Like it I feel it's necessary just to let it catch a little bit of traction, because I don't know, you look at a video and it doesn't have any likes on it whatsoever, you're like, oh, what is this? But if you look at one that's got at least one like, you're like, all right, maybe I'll check it out. So I don't know, it's just my brain being weird sometimes. But it is a lot some days. Like I've slowed down a little bit, not really slowed down on the show, but just kind of, I guess, paced myself. I learned playing around with things that if you give a day or two between episodes, you get a little more boost on it and stuff like that. I appreciate everybody that joins in with me and stuff, but I know all y'all are busy and have lives too, and I got things to do as well. But that's why I got so many of y'all. That way we could interchange. That was something I thought was a good idea from the go. I was like, well, if I'm just manning, if I'm manning the sales from behind it the entire time, but just have you guys interchange with me, we can keep the content coming and keep the things going, and I don't ever have to really worry about.
I don't think you have to worry about content at all. It's always being made all around us all the time.
No, absolutely. But like I like that everybody's been able to have different opportunities to chat with people and stuff like that. Like I've had a few times where I've had somebody on for a topic and then got to have them back with other co-hosts and stuff like that. And the conversation might generally be some of the same stuff, but it also gets it more in depth or more wild. Like I really love having the return guests like you, Steven. Like every time you popped in on here,
thanks.
Me and Bandit and Neptune, and I'll call them out because they're not here, but Ox has witnessed it, and in the group chat and stuff, we'll just be like, Steven is lit. He's got this good opinion about it, or they love hearing the conversation dealing with Steven, and I'm always sending them screenshots of mine in your conversation too. Sometimes like, hey, look what he just said, because it's just, it's we appreciate it. We do. Like
sometimes I'm on purpose, sometimes not.
No, it's good, and it makes me feel good knowing that you're out here checking the stuff out and actually listening to the conversation.
I'll binge them. Oh yeah, I'll binge them 5 or 10 at a time sometimes if I can, because I just can't get it in otherwise. I don't care. I take it. I just like, let's go, grab that ball and run.
That's what it's all about.
That's awesome.
I enjoy the show immensely. I miss if there's one thing we could bring back is the specials. I thought that was really cool too. Like they don't count towards the episode count. I think they should, but because they, it's all part of that group of those shows that go together. If we could do more of those, that'd be amazing too.
Yeah, you know what, Stephen? I have to say, to go back to Jimmy's question earlier regarding what one of my favorites was, those specials were really fun. The ones we did on First Lightning were really cool.
Yeah, because it made you look forward to the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Pirates ones were super awesome too.
We still got to finish that last Pirates.
We do. We do.
I'm sad that we never actually we stopped at 3, and then Neptune got a new job, and we had a lot of things going on, and it caused for that specific special to to go off track a little bit. But I do want to get back to those. I've actually been trying to contact a pirate historian. Like Luis recommended one, but I found one myself that wrote a bunch of books, and I was totally trying to get this pirate historian to join us for the final episode of that. But if you go over to like Odyssey and BitChute, I have those specific specials broke down into, you know,
in their own category.
Right,
I mean,
there.
it's easy to find them on Rumble too, because they do have different artwork, and that is one of the better things about that custom artwork per episode. It's like easily identifiable. So,
well, thank you.
Good job on that one.
Yeah. I wanted to make it fun and try to themed along with whatever we were kind of talking about for that subject or whatever. And I do really like those. I think there's more of those in store. Actually, when we do finish the pirate one, Ox brought up one in the group chat that I really want to do that's off kilter from normal stuff, but I think is also good, is the history of food. And like I've toyed that one back around a good little bit, and I really would like to move forward with that because, you know, food revolves around every bit of our lives. So why not talk about where some of the crazy dishes and ideas and things like that?
Well, I think more than that, you also get insight to the migratory patterns of people. Throughout history, as well as the intermingling of cultures. For example, like here's one of my favorite examples. Tacos al pastor. Everybody knows them, at least in my neck of the woods, that pineapple and pork that they slice off the skewer, the spit, and just goes right on your taco, and it's the best shit ever, right? Influenced by the Lebanese and kebabs, because there was an influx of Lebanese immigrants into Mexico, and the Mexicans at the time saw that and went, hey, this is cool, let's run with it. It's stuff like that where I think we can get a lot of insight and knowledge into how the human race has migrated, intermingled, and where different ideas, theories, and intersections of cultures and schools of thought all come from. So
I like that because you're right, you know, and it shows that across the world, really, like, you know, different things, people migrating in. A great place that I like to talk about this actually is when I lived in Buffalo, because Buffalo, you have an influx of multiple cultures in the area. You've got a lot of Italian, you've got a lot of Irish, and you've got a lot of Polish in that area. And there's a separation in like their cultural foods and their cultural differences and stuff. But then you also have places where their foods have kind of merged. You know what I'm saying? Like because, you know, there was Irish people marrying into Polish people and Polish people marrying into Italian people and vice versa and all over the place. And so they were merging these dishes that they were making and merging these different ideas and creating fantastic things. Like there's this dish you can get in Buffalo. It's kind of a staple of Buffalo, New York. You don't really hear about it outside of Buffalo. You do, but just not as often. And it's beef on weck. And it's like it's a slow smoked roast beef sandwich, and it's on a special bread that you really only get in that area and stuff like that. And usually the places have like a custom sauce to go along with it and stuff. I mean, you're just like, oh, it's just a roast beef sandwich, and you're like, no, dude, it's not just a roast beef sandwich. Like it's like a gourmet roast beef sandwich, dude. It's
like a sourdough. What is it called, an au jus when you have a sauce with it?
Dude, it's almost like it's almost like a croissant. It's almost like if you could mix a sourdough with a croissant. This is the bread that they made to put it on there. Like it's and then it's sprinkled.
Where is this again?
Buffalo.
Sorry, I was unlock someone's door.
Over in Buffalo, New York. I was talking about like all the cultural mixes, because we were discussing how me and Ox and the guys have discussed doing like a food history kind of special thing where we do a continuous couple episodes like our old specials. But I was talking about all the cultural mix-ups in places that turn into new foods. And one that is a favorite of mine is beef on weck out of Buffalo, New York. And that's because you've got a mixture of Irish, Italian, and Polish people, and they just kind of put things together.
What a name.
Right.
Beef on weck.
And come up with this sandwich for that area. And, you know, of course, there's other things in that area and other places that I've been. You know, when I was over in Germany, there's a lot of like the bratwurst in Germany are not the bratwurst here in the States.
Oh, they're way better.
For sure.
Like,
They're actually edible.
I think they're dry aged over there more than here. Here it's like
less
get it out the door and
chemicals,
smell it.
people. Less chemicals.
Oh
in the
yeah,
feed.
that too.
Less chemical. Like so, my friend once years ago, he went to Germany and lived there for a few months, and he was eating the same. He said, "I lost weight. I lost 20 pounds."
Yeah.
It was like, well, how? I'm eating. I'm drinking. What the fuck? And I was like, it's the food. It's cleaner.
Yeah.
The dry aging, that's something that would go great in like those food episodes. It really is a lost art. I mean, there's quite a bit to it, don't get me wrong, but as far as making sausage and dry aging your own meat and stuff for like that, I don't understand why humanity went more for we can stick it in the fridge and refrigerator instead of continuing
because
to have
it's
smokehouses.
expensive, Jimmy. Because it's expensive, and it's
So
I will tell
bro.
you this from the aspect of someone who has worked in food service for a long time and understands meat, specifically proteins, on a level higher than most in my profession. I would just say that there's a lot of waste that goes into dry aging. You have to trim a lot of that off.
Sure.
And that's in terms of efficiency, not as efficient. You can feed more people. It's the same as why they started grain feeding cattle. They'll get fatter, they'll get bigger. They're just going to start being bigger cuts. It's more commercially available at your local grocery store, whether it's Kroger, whatever, your Costco, whatever. It's all grain fed, right?
It is. And
whatever looks bigger sells better.
Right. Exactly. That's all it is. And ultimately, I prefer the taste of dry aged beef. I agree with you here, but I think Maytag needed to sell more units of something, so fridges became more popularized. Because you buy a Maytag washer from the 70s, you never buy another washer.
Do you want an ice box, bro?
Nowadays, we'll see.
I don't think we want to go back to ice boxes, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean,
that's not a bad idea, though.
I mean, like,
I'm not saying ice box.
Sure.
I'm not saying ice box. I am saying you can reconstitute jerky and make stew just as well as you can with fresh beef.
Yeah.
Well,
Right, it's that dry age. Most people, professional people, they have a box that's not really refrigerated, but they dry age, racks, come in, they trim it when necessary to keep anything from growing. Like it's a process.
You have to have the right salt content, right airflow. I built a dry aging chamber in a mini fridge that I picked up from some radiator shop in the hood when I was living at my mom's house. I couldn't open this door but once. And then I had to basically keep that fridge closed with I think there were 6 boxes of baking soda open there at one point to absorb.
Yeah,
I mean, it got rank in there because it wasn't actually during the dry aging process. It's when I removed the salt from there, but there was still the smoke and the culture along the outside of it, and the air was shut off, so there was no airflow, and it got crazy. I mean,
there's complexity to it.
You can literally kill people if you're not doing it right.
I spent a good chunk of my early teenage years with my grandparents, and my grandfather had an old smokehouse on the property. Like, sure, we did have a fridge in the house too, but the meat that we got off the property, off the house, because we did our own meat, stayed in the smokehouse. Like it was an old shack that was built down in the corner that the coals were fed into the ground and it was piped inside of it, and like that's where a lot of stuff. And I grew up around the smokehouse, and he also had up at the garage an old school metal 60s style refrigerator that he had gutted and had racks inside of it, and we would always have something right there by the house smoking, so that you could just walk out anytime and there was smoked meat like all the time. And
so Mark Zuckerberg would envy your smoked meats.
Well, he can't touch it.
And your sweet baby rays. And your sweet baby rays.
The sweet baby rays wouldn't be able to even touch it, man. It would
that guy's a goddamn alien, and you can't change my mind. Yeah, I'm waiting for the day he licks his eyeball on camera.
He's an AI, bro. I think he's a robot.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
He's just a rich kid with a lot of external influence and no personality.
Is that not an alien?
No.
I mean, he acts like a damn alien. He doesn't know how to. He doesn't understand the human experience.
Well, I love this. Lex Friedman, when he interviewed him, the first thing he did was give him a CAPTCHA. It's like, are you a robot? That was really, really epic. Like, he just gave it to him, a physical paper one. It's like, could you identify the items there? And I haven't heard him on Joe Rogan, but yeah, just listen to him so you can understand how he thinks, but it's not that interesting. It's just literally he was a very wealthy kid, went to a school that cost $50,000 a year as he was growing up. So he grew up very wealthy and then went to Harvard, and he dropped out of Harvard because he had access to money. And he said, if it wasn't for my parents, if it wasn't for the access of money I had, I would have never built Facebook. He stole the code, by the way. Like, this guy is also a criminal. Like, he literally stole the code from several people. He did steal the idea from the Winklevoss twins, and he did steal the code for the primary system from a MIT professor that sued them. And then a government got involved. They were like, no, this is now part of our system, so go fuck off.
Oh, did that professor end up committing suicide by shooting himself in the back of the head about 7 or 8 times?
Money. No, he just didn't get his money.
Oh, he got it. The Clintons weren't involved.
No, the Clintons were not involved in the creation.
Oh, forgive me. No but suicide
Condoleezza
here.
Rice is in the board of Facebook. I'm not sure she still is, but she was in the board of Facebook.
Interesting.
And the FBI in 2010, when Time was doing an interview with Mark Zuckerberg, one of the members of the FBI popped into the office like, "Hey, Mark, how you doing?" While they were doing an interview, because the FBI had an office inside of Facebook, right by Mark Zuckerberg.
Madness.
I'm shocked, I tell you. Shocked.
I'm not.
Lord. I mean, let's be real. As maybe not you so much, Luis. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for you there, but I know like people like Ox and Bandit and Neptune. We've talked about this before, and like social media was totally an NSA idea. Like, like it was a dream that they could have wished they could have had for years, and they didn't really have a way to implement it.
There's a book called Net Delusion that goes over this, and I read this book now 11 years ago when I first came to New York. I found this book. It predicted so many things. This book was on the money on so many things, which was kind of freaky to look at. And one of the chapters is KGB wants you to be on Facebook. That's the title of one of the chapters, which is hilarious. And you heard about the $700 million Facebook had to pay because of the Cambridge Analytica and data leak. So Facebook's paid now billions of dollars. Google's now paid billions of dollars in fines in relationship to the privacy complaints. And imagine all the things that you don't know that they're doing.
True.
That's it. I mean, our data, we actually need an actual push for privacy data security even better than what the European Union is doing, which I'll give them. That's the only thing good that they're doing, is that they're actually protecting your data better than normal people. So I'll give them that. That's the only thing the Europeans are more modern at. It's because they're younger, but they're still corrupt. Just a different type of corrupt.
Are they really protecting your data better, or are they making you buy a TV license so they can watch everything that you're watching and make sure you're not getting these crazy ideas
that's
that
England.
aren't pre-approved?
That's England.
I know, but like,
what is it?
I'm just saying, there's everything's.
What is it? £5 a month that you pay?
I don't know. I will never pay for a TV license. I will be cold in the ground before someone tells me I can't watch.
Pay £5 a month for the BBC in taxes.
What a joke.
Wait,
what a joke.
Hold on.
It's a tax. Of course it's a tax.
Damn.
I mean,
their taxes.
We have PBS. They're sponsored by Pfizer. So PBS is sponsored
viewers
by
like
Pfizer.
you, bro. No, it's sponsored by viewers like you.
Johnson, like Johnson and Johnson. We sell you heroin. I mean, oxy. I mean, nice drugs to take away the pain. What is it? $26 billion they recently had to pay out. $26 billion, and there's more lawsuits. Purdue Pharma lost $16 billion in value. All of it gone.
I hope it's just the start.
I mean, it's not until there's a great show called The Ozarks. I don't know if you guys have watched it.
Yeah.
And it's
Ozark. Yeah.
It's essentially kind of a story about the heroin, Johnson and Johnson, and how they buy straight up from cartels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also Marty is great in that show.
A TV license costs £159. 53 £50. for black and white TV sets.
Excuse me. It's
Who the fuck
2022.
has a
It's damn near
black and white
2023. What kind of Larry and Lucy shit is going on where they have black and white TV sets still?
What?
A single TV license
said,
will
and
cover
it-
up to
it said,
15
and it-
rooms.
Oh, thank you. If the crown wills it, I may watch into 15 rooms.
For one,
Kiss the ring. Kiss the ring on the wrinkleless hands.
I mean, what is one of the most popular shows on earth? Doctor Who. But at the same time, so is Dragon Ball Z. So
Disney, starting in 2023, Disney will exclusively be streaming Doctor Who.
Oh, also, Disney owns Dragon Ball Z.
Yep.
They bought the studio related to, I think they bought Toei Animation.
Yeah.
So separately, I want to say Goku from Dragon Ball Z, the Japanese voice, is a woman. So if you want to talk about progressive evolution, yeah, all kids around the planet have idolized a man that is the encompassing element of like what is masculinity. It's voiced by a woman. So tell me about progressive.
So hold on. So when I was in elementary school, watching Goku just absolutely whipping these dudes left and right, going Super Saiyan, right? I'm talking
a woman's voice.
Could beat Superman into a pulp. And I heard this voice going, "Yeah, I'm the toughest son of a bitch."
I'm not in English, in Japanese. The Japanese original. Japanese.
Okay, that's different. I was gonna say that's no woman.
Also, Bart Simpson was a woman.
Yeah,
but yeah, many characters in Dragon Ball Z are women. Like you'll find that are not male characters.
Not women. Yeah.
Let me see if you found the female actress. No, those are for young ones. But the actress that does go. Oh, there it is. That's
right here, that lady over there.
She's an older lady now. I mean, she's been doing it since 1980s.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Lady.
But she goes to conferences and just starts screaming and does all the work, and it's like really interesting to watch. Like one of the most famous male characters on the face of the earth is voiced by a woman. And I mean, talks about progressive in Japan? The Sailor Moon had lesbian couple, and the American government, like the censors, cut out that whole section of the show.
Correct.
And then they had to redub it so they're sisters or something. What we lost, but the Latinos got all of it. So that's why also that the anime is so prominent in the Latino community.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because it didn't get edited down
like it
did for us. Yeah,
their version was not censored. Even the swear words, like Dragon Ball Z, swears a lot. Yeah, people don't know that because they've never
merits it. It really merits it. If you're telling me Piccolo doesn't cuss, fuck you. You're a liar.
Vegeta cusses like a sailor,
as he should. He's Vegeta.
That's right.
Like what is it? Over 9000 meme. Like he was saying "fuck you" and all their shit like that.
Yeah. Well, I had to find out that Vegeta and Bulma's relationship started with rape, and I was like, "What? No, it didn't." And like Japanese people are like, "Yeah, don't know what version you're watching." It's like, no way.
What is
but
it?
I never could find the proof of that. It's just what I was told.
It started with what?
Rape. Like,
oh God.
It's in the took comics. Advantage of her.
It's in
right. So it's kind of like, wow. A lot of topics the Japanese cover there, a lot, and it's very sanitized for the American market. So.
Which has always been wild to me. Like, why do they sanitize stuff so much for the American market? Like, really?
The same reason they were pumping cow and chicken on Cartoon Network.
Because you don't. Because you don't.
I mean, Ren and Stimpy, guys, that was a fucked up show. Even
it's
for
propaganda.
Adults. Yeah, but it's like the twisted type. It's not even good.
Did you guys see when they remade
was
that?
literally on TV for like little children. Billy and Mandy was on TV
monsters?
For little children.
All real monsters.
That was But great. Ugly Martians. Like all these shows that I grew up with. No wonder I'm fucking weird. But like, you know,
and most of us grew up a lot with like The Simpsons and South Park, and you know, for our time, those were pushing the limit. But yet, you've got so many people. For us to grow up on stuff that was so offensive, why the fuck is everybody butthurt all the fucking time?
Oh, you know what's a great test if you're hiring somebody? Because you can legally ask, how do you find South Park? So their answer will tell you a lot. If they find it offensive, I don't know know if you should hire them. It depends. If their culture can affect your culture, maybe it's not best to hire them.
Good point.
Because South Park's insulting what's wrong with society.
But what I love about South Park is that they don't pull any punches. If you're fucking up, South Park's gonna let you know about it.
Because their grandfather did. You can't do that anymore.
They're like Dave Chappelle.
Rich and grandfather did.
They're like Dave Chappelle.
Me and Neptune used to be a part of a Facebook page called The Revolutionary Rabbit. And Matt Stone's rabbit art was our kind of edited to be a boogaloo looking thing, was our little page's like picture symbol or whatever for the Revolutionary Rabbit. And it totally made him follow us, and he used to actually even interact with the page on Facebook. And because he's totally a closeted anarchist. Like a lot of people be like, oh, he's a libertarian, and I'm like, nah, watch South Park, bro. He's a closeted anarchist all day long. Like
I mean, how many secrets from Hollywood did that show reveal? That was the fascinating part. So that, by the way, Seth MacFarlane, same thing. He reveals a lot of secrets of Hollywood in his show. But let's see. Tom Cruise, that's one. Michael Jackson, that was an interesting other. Kevin Spacey came from in Seth like Family Guy.
Mm-hmm.
He showed some fucked up shit there. And what others can you think of from South Park? Like strange truths revealed in the show and then later came out to be true.
Kanye's a lunatic.
I mean,
yeah,
that's not.
That's a given.
Happening back then. Like that's always.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm a gay fish, y'all.
I've heard Kanye's bi, but that's beside the point.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people in Hollywood are bi. That's not nothing.
Hollywood.
You don't remember that episode?
Reagan was bi, by the way.
Luis,
Reagan used to, suck it. Huh?
You never.
That's hilarious.
You never heard that You never seen that episode, Luis?
Which one?
Where the gay fish episode, where it was Kanye on South Park, and they kept calling him a gay fish the whole time.
I think I saw a snippet of it.
But,
this is a good episode.
Well, he couldn't like grasp the riddle. Do you like fish sticks? And if he said yes, then you a gay fish.
Oh,
but
by
he
the way,
could never grasp the concept of the joke.
Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey 100% bats for the other team.
Well, duh, that's obvious.
My friend went into a party that he then found it strange. It was 90% men, and then he noticed there was like 6 men in a bathtub all naked. He was like, "Oh, gay." That's how he realized.
So funny.
Matthew McConaughey's batting the other pitch. But that's the thing. It's a job. You need to present that persona for your job, and it's disgusting. It's a problem in our society, and if you think about it, that they have to hide their sexuality. It's ridiculous.
Oh, absolutely. But I think the great irony of like all of these mentioned is still Reagan. The fact that he was like one of those staunchly conservative people.
Artist. His wife was a deep throat artist. Just look it up.
I would not know,
Nancy?
but I will tell you.
Nancy was a deep throat artist. Yeah, look it up.
She's the throat goat. Like that.
Look it up. They used to be an orgy. Like they were crazy.
All I'm saying is, he represented to every like super hardcore
conservative.
My father is an F-150 and my mother's a cheeseburger. Like, all those guys out there idolized Reagan, and to hear that they would just like crumble. These guys would,
need to look it up.
Their identity would fall apart to understand what it meant. Like he's a character, he's a puppet.
She was also running the government. I think the last 2 years.
Well, how the hell else do you get ketchup packets approved as a serving of vegetables in school lunches?
Also, what is it? He got shot, right?
Yep.
He got shot.
John
I don't know
Hinckley.
what time. Yeah, there was a show called Russian Show. It's a Russian character. All that Mr. T thing. I literally just saw a clip of that too, because that was a while ago now. And Mr. T's reaction to her just sitting on him, he was like, "What? Why are you sitting on me? Okay, you just publicly did that. Okay." His shock of like, "Did you really just do that in front of everybody?" Who knows what relationship they had? Still, it is in that time period for the first lady to just sit on your lap is It's something.
Well, he was in the A team. He was going to keep her safe. He was probably her personal detail, clearly.
Detailing her, yes.
Yeah.
Mr. T detailed her all right.
Oh, yeah. I bet she did some detailing, too.
The perimeter was definitely not secure.
But I mean, I see his character, and I see so many people that have actually evolved out of a character similar to Mr. T. He was an interesting persona.
He was. You know that you have you heard about the stuff that he's doing now?
No, what is he doing now? I haven't heard of him like in a while, but yeah, I know he's around. It's just, yeah, he's been not public.
So apparently he invested a whole bunch of his money and does like I'm trying to find the article because I was just reading this the other day.
I know Tyson went into weed. Tyson owns like
I saw that.
And eats a lot of psilocybin, like a lot.
There's got to be some sort of like Cro-Magnon finding consciousness moments going on for Mike Tyson, like the like
he sounds
the
actually
champion
normal
of
now.
the entire universe. He could absolutely pugilize any living being's face out of existence, and then he goes and finds his spirit animal with great regularity. Like, this is impressive stuff, and I want to know more about what he thinks. Like, I've heard he has a podcast. I haven't listened to it yet, but I would imagine he has a lot of fascinating thoughts, actually.
Compared to how he was, you can tell how psychedelics have cured him.
Yes,
he was very bad. He was mentally fucked in the past. He was just fucked, and also had a cocaine addiction. There's that famous picture of him literally covered in coke, like just raw.
What are they gonna do? Arrest him? He was Mike Tyson.
Try to arrest Mike Tyson.
And like, here's the crazy thing, man. Like, he wasn't a particularly tall man, or isn't a particularly tall man, I should say.
He's 280 pounds of muscle.
5'10" or something like that. So like he's
average. Not 5'10", he's smaller, I think.
Is he? Whatever the case may be, not a towering man by any stretch of the imagination, but easily. If you had to like just take a pit bull and turn him into a human, all you need to do is change the nose and you're there. It's Mike Tyson.
True.
I mean, the guy was just a walking meatball. So
no, you're right. 5'10". You're right.
Is it 5'10"? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just because he's so big.
I don't think he was 280 though. I mean, maybe walking around. I think his fighting weight was what, like 240 or 250 something. Which is, don't get me wrong, that's still a big guy, especially if you're.
Well, he was heavyweight.
Yeah. I think in boxing,
and Holyfield was way taller than him.
Holyfield was a monster of a man.
Now they're working together. Did you know that? They're working together now?
They're doing the edibles thing, right?
I can't find it or whatever where I was reading. It was an article I was reading the other day, but I guess he's doing like a charity thing, and that promotes a lot towards the use of psychedelics for mental issues because of how much it has.
You're right, 218 pounds.
218. Look, I still want no part of fighting Mike Tyson at any point in his life.
Oh no, this man, I mean, there was a recent, you remember that video of the guy in the plane just pissing him the fuck off? I'm like, everybody was like, wow, you kept your cool. Consider you could kill him in a single punch. The guy that literally was barking on him nonstop in the plane. Oh my God. That was annoying.
I think there's got to be a level of like self-assurance that you have to be like, listen, like, this guy's a nobody. I've made it. Everyone knows who I am. He wouldn't be bothering me unless I was a big deal. And ultimately, I know I could kill this guy with one punch, kind of thing. Like, I'm Mike Tyson. I'll just let it be, you know? Because
he did great.
End up on the news or something and end up in jail. Why?
Yeah,
exactly. No, he kept. That's the thing. He evolved. Old Mike Tyson would have probably killed the guy.
Mike Tyson would have slewn that man in one punch.
One punch.
Slain.
He just flies across the plane.
Oh,
he would have been a mural on the wall.
And you know, I mean, that's the truth. I mean, that dude, like, that's definitely a force to be reckoned with. Always has been, you know. And to see that he's changed so much and been calmer and will attest a lot of things to psychedelics too. Like, I that's why I'm one of the first people to recommend it as well, because I'm like, look, there's healing things there. Like, there's
don't do it in a rave.
Don't do it in a rave. No, but I'm saying, like, from personal experience, there's nothing like giving yourself a good reset. every now and then. I'm by no means like a frequent type user, but like I am like every few months it's good to have that ability to go wander off in the woods for the day and reset my brain. You know what I'm saying? Like it does a good. I guess you guys could relate a little bit because I know Luis, I know you're into the psychedelic kind of ideas of mental health and such like that. So.
It's the future of mental health. I was talking to somebody recently that
Wanna
mentioned.
try the chicken and cheese
Oh,
thingy?
Steven, you're on mute.
Then I said no.
Unmute, Steven. Mute yourself,
Mute
boy.
Steven. We can.
I tried.
So I was speaking to somebody about ibogaine because they were mentioning a person.
I'm sorry. Help me here, Luis. What is that?
Ibogaine is Western tree bark, Western African tree bark from a particular tree in Western Africa.
Is it
it
a
now grows in other parts of
hallucinogen
the
or
world.
something? A
It is a
psychoactive?
very powerful hallucinogenic psychedelic
Okay.
that can last from 30 something to 48 hours in your system.
Good God.
It is one of the most powerful in relationship to addiction cessation. It helps you rewire your addictive patterns. So this was discovered by a guy at 19 years old that at the time was addicted to heroin. He did it just by shits and giggles, and then he had no desire to do it. He had no withdrawal. No withdrawal was the main thing. The withdrawal goes away. Like in most places they try to ask you to stop doing it for a while to increase the probability of it working to your benefit. But it also took away the withdrawals and everything. So you can find psychedelic ibogaine treatments in Mexico and Canada, and now they're being opened in Colorado, Oregon, and California. This is going to fix the drug epidemic of this country. It can do it overnight. There should be a massive investment into ibogaine because it'll destroy the pharmaceutical control over this country.
That is absolutely wild.
Look into it. It's because it has a 90% success rate.
That's unbelievable. I used to work at this like really high-end rehab.
You don't need
teenagers.
you don't need to do maintenance. I mean, you could do maintenance every few months, but you don't need to constantly take a drug. It just takes away the desire to do. I mean, again, it doesn't work on everybody, and you have to have the right mindset to even go into the situation. But if the government just said, hey, stop giving methadone, stop giving people another drug, why don't we do this? And we don't have to give them drugs. We don't have to get them maintenance drugs, because this is the thing. The reason people go back is because people don't stick to it. People don't take their medication. Look, this is a serious problem all around the world. A doctor gives you a prescription of something, and people just stop taking it at the right dosage. And that's how other problems start to arise. I'm not saying that Western medicine is the best medicine. This applies also to Chinese medicine. This applies to all types of medicine. People just don't stick to things. They don't stick to the regimen that you are told to do. So the treatment is not as effective. And you can look into the stats. In some cases, it's horrifically bad. And it's over 60% in some cases that people just don't follow what the doctor's telling you to do. So that's how people get sicker, because they're not listening to people that do have sometimes the best intentions to do help you. Don't take experimental shots that a doctor that is being paid to give it to you. You shouldn't do that, though. And trust those doctors that question it, because a few doctors actually questioned it, and they just don't suggest it, and that's it. That's all they could do, because otherwise they would lose their medical licenses. And it's an easy way to control them, because they have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, and the only people that can hire them are the hospitals. So you think they're going to hire you if they know you're going to go against their mantra? That's how they kept control in the United States.
I used to work at this really high-end rehab for teenagers, and one of the first things I came to understand while working there was that heroin is the only drug that they can actually, you can die of if you quit it cold turkey. If you had been on enough, you will get quote unquote dope sick enough to where you may die due to a reaction your body is basically creating for itself. But that's beside the point.
That's usually if you're really like physically weak, like if you have other problems, yes. But the one that actually could kill you, it's not that. It's benzodiazepine, like Xanax. It causes electrical, the equivalent of what you could describe as an electrical storm in your brain. and it'll kill you. So it'll just start seizuring until you die. So Xanax, like all these benzo drugs, are the new most lethal shit on the streets. That's given by doctors at an increasing rate, and it is it's more dangerous than opiates. Just look into it. I've had friends that fell into the addiction, and I realized, oh, this is worse. This is actually worse. And in Europe, they're fucked. In Europe, they're completely fucked. They're all addicted to that stuff. And the Canadians are actually importing a lot of that, the bad stuff with us. And one of the reasons they get dosed with fentanyl is because the pill presses, sometimes they're printing fentanyl on the same press that they're printing Xanax. So that's part of the reason. And because in Canada, it's just a slap on the wrist. If you get arrested for pressing pills, that's why all that shit is coming from Canada.
That's madness.
It is. It really is. Like, I mean, and that's a real epidemic, I think, too. Like, just in general,
killed more than COVID.
And I guess when you're the biggest drug peddlers in the entire world, you're not going to really do too much to go after yourself, because then you're going to start losing money.
What was that song the Beatles wrote? Poppy Fields Forever? Oh, excuse me. Strawberry Fields Forever.
Yellow Submarine is about heroin.
Yeah, no. It's most of their songs are about heroin.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear about that time that they all were in a dark room, all jerking themselves off?
Yes.
The Beatles were an interesting bunch. Yeah, they had circle jerks. But
I'm not surprised. You guys ever watch F is for Family?
I got to say, though, just to interject.
Okay, go ahead.
The best thing that could have ever happened with the existence of the Beatles was that piece of shit commie John Lennon got shot in the face.
Ding, ding, ding.
You're never going to let that go, are you?
He is
rightly so, but you're never going to let it go.
He's a good communist now because he's dead.
By the way, John Lennon beat the fuck out of Yoko Ono and other women.
Yes,
he did.
Oh no!
Yes,
he totally had it coming. Not gonna lie, I'm just saying, like, it's just might as well just whip that horse a little more.
But dude, I tell people that, and then I tell people that Michael Jackson wasn't a pedophile, and that he actually loved children.
He was trying to save them.
Was that genuinely beautiful human being?
Yeah,
he was the opposite of what everybody was saying.
He knew about he came up and knew about the atrocities of Hollywood, and he was trying to keep other kids from having to go through that. That's why he had
Macaulay Culkin spoke well of him, and other people
I've always been on that thing, because I've seen a lot of videos there towards the end of Michael where he was coming out and like telling the truth, and I'll stand by the theory that, or they say it's a theory, that his medical doctor played with his pills to
wait. According to what happened, the medical doctor was prosecuted for murdering him. If you guys didn't know, his doctor literally murdered him.
Yeah.
He was on such an insane cocktail of drugs. He was on methadone, and then he was on uppers. Basically, the guy was going like beep, 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 on drugs. And he's 53, 54 at the time.
Yeah, manufactured manic depression. But to like the nth quantum degree, it's just stupid.
I mean, your heart's gonna give out when you're like going like that.
Yes, absolutely, no question.
You're in your 50s, and your heart. I mean, even he danced every single day, and his dance practices were for like 2 to 3 hours a day. So he was fit, but on that many drugs, you're fucked.
Facts.
Yeah, the human body can only take so much.
But it can take a beating and keep on pushing. I'll give you that. Like we talked about this a little bit recently. I'm not sure if it was on this show or on another show when I was conversating, but people, there's a lot of rock stars. You got like Ozzy, for example, that like, how the fuck is he still kicking?
What was his main use? What did he mainly use a lot? What was the main
Ozzy used so much cocaine and heroin. If you've ever heard Hand of Doom, which is an early Black Sabbath song, I am a huge Black Sabbath buff. I love Tony Iommi and what he did for the genre. Lost a couple fingers in a sheet metal factory accident, and then proceeded to invent heavy metal because he's a hardcore motherfucker. But anyway,
that's the story of heavy metal. Oh my god,
that's the story of heavy metal. He is the father of all darkness. Tony Iommi,
he lost fingers.
Absolute beast. He had like rubber fingertips that he would put on and whatnot, and like, dude's awesome. But Ozzy, I read his autobiography.
Nice.
I've been an Ozzy fan for a long, long time. I read his autobiography in like high school or whatever, and I was blown away at how articulate his thoughts are. Now, obviously, verbally, there's a disconnect.
I think it was the crack use that fucked up his brain and
I would imagine so. He's got some
he can
scrambled
sing
eggs.
still. He can still sing.
He's still singing.
Not only
great,
can
yeah.
he still sing, he has one hell of an ear. I mean, I've never heard him be off pitch, and I've seen him live multiple times. But yeah, I think you're right. I think but sorry, to circle back, Hand of Doom is a song preaching about the terrors of heroin, and this was shortly before they completely destroyed themselves with heroin. Yeah, this album was released like 2 albums before the heroin album. So
wait, so the thing I think about now is like they were what, 70s, 80s?
they were like late 60s even to early 70s.
Okay, so
when
they
came
were
onto
they
the
were in the
scene.
time when the US government was pushing heroin.
And talk about, Vietnamese napalm and everything going on in the world at that time.
Everybody should watch American Gangster and know that that's a documentary.
Yeah, that's a
Pretty
great movie
much.
too. Great movie, really great. I mean,
Good
Denzel
movie and a
kills it.
documentary.
Yeah.
2-for-1 special.
So, guys, I appreciate you guys joining me for today, and I know we lost Caitlin somewhere around in the middle of this, but that's all right. I was glad to see her join us for a little while, and Steve and I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate all you guys and the help that you've given me and being here for me throughout this past year of podcasting. And I got to say, I look forward to the whole next year of it, and look forward to the great things we're going to find and talk about, and just more memories that we're going to make together doing this stuff. I have a blast doing it. I think it's very therapeutic to sit here and talk to you guys about a lot of things, the what ifs, crazy, wild things of the world. And we can sit here and talk about this stuff and not, really judge each other, or really have issues and stuff like that. We can talk about these weird things, and that in itself is beautiful. And at the core of it, the reason behind all this, to show that we're more alike than we are different, and all kinds of ways, and that we've all got some great stories if people will just shut up and listen every now and then instead of bickering back and forth with each other at which side is better for. I'm just saying it, like, at which side is better than the other side and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, we all bleed the same. We're all the same on the inside. We all want somewhere to lay our head at night, a full belly, and to feel safe. And I think we could all really learn from just these conversations in general, and that we could do all of that. And I look forward to continuing to do this for the foreseeable future. Like I've already been out there planning some big stuff for the 2023 year and things like that. And I look forward to you guys coming along on the ride with me, because it's always a blast to have it. And Steven, we're definitely going to have you back on in and out throughout the next year while we're having things going on, because it's always a pleasure having your voice thrown in there for things, even when you're busy, and make a special appearance on the road for us like you did today. So
well, I super appreciate being able to come on the show, and I love the concept, the idea of this instant freedom of speech. This is the way everything should be, and people have lost. Like they've given everything up for the sake of not being offensive. And it's real easy just to have a conversation about something, and you both can come to an equilibrium instead of everything being so one-sided. And I think that's what we've lost totally, and that's what drew me to the show in the beginning. It's like, hey, these guys are having real conversations. Everything, is out there. And if somebody's wrong, it's okay. And if somebody has a difference of opinion, that's okay too. It's all about being able to express. It's like a muscle. That First Amendment is a muscle. It's a God-given right. It's not just a piece of paper. It's something innate, and it's given to us by our Creator. And it's what we have to exercise. We're going to lose it. And that's what I love about the show. This show embodies and exemplifies that. Doesn't matter at the end of the day, like, if somebody's wrong or right, or if somebody has a difference of opinion, doesn't matter. We've all got to have our say. And that's so important, because we're losing it slowly or more rapidly nowadays. But I just wanted to touch on that real quick. I guess that's my closing thought. I really appreciate that aspect of this group, that we can come and say things and we can put it on record and stamp it. And we're like, this is me. And if you have a problem with it, come find me. Let's talk about it.
I appreciate that, man. No, I really do. Like that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like it's stuff
But
like that. Again,
that's my big say, and that's why I like the show so much, and that's why I enjoy most of the people that are on here. I mean, honestly, I enjoy them all, whether we have a difference of opinion or not. And that's my whole point. Like, we need more of this. This is therapeutic for a lot of people, just to come and just talk and express themselves and put it out there, and because they don't have that ability anywhere else unless they start their own show. Put all the monumental effort and work that you put into it just to have people listen to
you know, and it's for viewpoints like that, Stephen, right there, that I keep going, man. Like I appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad.
That really hits the heart there, man. And
I'm being serious, and
I hope other people pull that from it too, though. Like that's kind of a purpose there. Like you hit it on the nose on what I'm after in reality. And
but I want.
It.
Well, you're welcome, but I'm just being very serious and honest. Like, this is exactly why I like the show. This is why I never want to turn down an opportunity, no matter what I'm doing. If I can't have my camera on and I can't get fast enough to the mute button, I still want to be here and I still want to be involved because I enjoy that. And other people should feel free to be a part of that too, no matter what. So we can all come to a point where we can all just have a conversation, no matter what.
I love it. No, I love it. Like that. I don't think I could have said it any better, man. That's great. No. So, well,
bringing it back.
Ox, I want to hop over to you. You got any final closing thoughts for this final episode of Unconstitutional Awakening for 2022?
Just to echo what you were saying, I think it's really nice to have a diverse group of guys and gals on this show that come from various different walks of life, and we don't necessarily bicker and argue about ideas and opinions that we introduce, because I've learned something from each of you guys just today. You know, and I think you learn more when you just shut up and accept you don't know everything. I mean, you guys are all fountains of information in your own right, and it's good to be around people and surround yourself with people who know more than you do about a lot of things, because how else can you be a well-rounded individual? So I just want to say I'm grateful for you guys, and this is super fun. I absolutely love being on this show, and I look forward to hopefully being able to make more time in the coming year to be on more episodes. I know that, my job has some kind of odd hours, and it is what it is, but I love what I do, and I also love being on this show, and I'm going to find that balance, and I'm going to make a point to do it.
Luis, you got anything good for me?
It's been an incredible journey. Thank you. 2022 couldn't have been the way it's been without your help and all these wonderful people. I appreciate all of you. And 2023 is going to be absolutely insane. Come strap on with us and enjoy the ride of us discovering more about how we are just one, talking to each other, because we're just one consciousness, but we don't realize it. So we just talk to each other as if we're different, but we're just one. So get used to it. We're just one. Stop fighting.
Well, guys, this, to add to all this, I appreciate both of your guys' nice words there towards me and towards doing this. And I appreciate you guys being on this journey with me, man. Like it's been a blast. I couldn't ask for a nicer bunch of guys to be able to hang out and talk crazy nonsense with. So it is a blessing. Like when I first started, I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just dove in head first, and here we are. And I think that it's.
I love it. I love it so far. Keep going. You got this.
So and I do intend on keep going, because there is a demand for it, and folks are tuning in, and you can find me also here as well as the Red Pill Project too, because I'm always doing stuff over there still, and it's. We're just going to evolve even more, and who knows where it goes from here. That's for sure. I think it can only go up. It can only get better, and it can only get more fun. So, but of course, I'm going to leave you guys with my last pirate joke of the year. So hope you guys are ready. Why did nobody want the pirate? Why did nobody want to play cards with the pirate?
Why?
He was always standing on the deck. You guys have a great year. Thank you.